Hey everybody, I'm back in the kitchen. Yes, Crafty Sue back in the kitchen. Otherwise known as So What Seamstress. So when I'm not sewing, I'm cooking. Today, a favorite. I'm in Georgia. And what do they love in Georgia? One of the things they do love, first they love brownies first. I guess they all like chocolate. And I like chocolate, but I have to, moderation, just lost some weight, gotta keep it off. Southern banana pudding. My country style way. It's a little different. A little same, but a little different. So for this recipe, what you need is 5 to 6 bananas. I always do one more, which is 6. Instead of the 5, I do the 6. And then you need, in addition to that, you need 4 tablespoons of flour, and I have the flour right here. And then we have the sugar. Now the sugar is 1.5 cups. What I do a little bit different is, I do half a cup in a light brown sugar and a cup in regular sugar. Now, my brown sugar has been sitting in the cabinet for a while. Have you ever had brown sugar? You got it for one recipe, and then it's like months later, and you're like, oh, I don't want to go out and buy some fresh brown sugar, and it's like a rock. Well, that's what mine looked like. So, do you know how you fix that without messing the sugar up? It's simple. You take, of course it's a little difficult to get a piece out of here, but it's doable. And I just took a big heavy knife and kind of pounded on it until I got some chunks off of it. And this is gonna, gotta be careful you don't stab yourself. Well, let's see. Sometimes you gotta wiggle it. And when you get a piece in there, a couple good sized pieces, I have this little cutting board handy for this kind of stuff. And I want to show you how this works. There we go. So now I have chunks broken off of brown sugar. And then what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to do it on a plate instead of in a bowl. How I soften this up is I actually put it in the measuring cup. You put it in your microwave. Yes, the microwave. To fix brown sugar lumps. I call it rock candy. But this is light brown. And you'll see I've got good, nice little chunky things. So you go to your microwave and you put this in on defrost. Defrost for 0.1 because it asks you for the weight. So you do 0.1. It gives you 30 seconds, at least on my microwave it does. At 15 seconds, you take it out. We're going to do that right now. In here. I know that. I did the other one halfway through. There we go. It was telling me, turn over. I said, okay. When you do defrost, it tells you when to turn it over. So 15 seconds, doesn't last long. And you're going to pull it out right away. Yes, mother. Now, any longer than 15 seconds, it will start to melt. So when you take it out, you can literally crumble it back in your fingers. So I'm adding a little bit more on here. It's not quite 1.5 cups, so it's okay. And then you have finely ground brown sugar again. Now there are these little clay gizmos I've seen that say it's to keep your brown sugar from getting hard or, hardening up. I've never used one, but I have done this because this is my country style. Oh, and if you see this little fuzzy face in the picture, little black and white fuzzy face, that's my crazy Luna. We have videos of her and our other cat Data, and she likes to photobomb, just in case you're wondering. She thinks she's a human, so she'll come up to the table thinking she's going to get some people food. She's a mooch. She's a beggar, that's what she is. But she's so cute, can't help it. So, of the 1.5 cups of sugar, half a cup is the light brown, the other cup is regular white sugar. And I don't know if you're aware, but are any of you the kind that don't like bananas when they start to get spots? Probably. Everybody wants to use a nice yellow banana the green's gone away, but no brown spots have come yet. It's the perfect banana. No, it's not the perfect banana. The perfect banana looks like these. These guys have freckles. That's what I call them. The little brown spots when they start. What that tells you is that's the natural sugar coming to the surface. The perfect time to make banana bread, banana pudding, banana anything, banana cake, because then you get more of the real, true, full banana flavor. That's a hint. Now, again, growing up out in the country, as I said before, we don't waste anything. We used to do a compost pile and all that, and what do you think I'm going to do with these banana peels? I'm put them in the garbage, let them stink up the kitchen? Nope. They're going right back in the backyard in the compost hot pile. That's where they're going. They have potassium in the skin also, and it's great for fertilizer when you're doing your compost. So, the other ingredient you're going to need is 1 box of vanilla wafers. I get generic. Pretty much they all taste the same. If you like the brand name, go ahead and get it. You need 1 whole box for this recipe. It serves 6 to 8, by the way. And then the flour, which I mentioned at 4 tablespoons, I only use unbleached flour. Someone's going to say, what's the difference? The difference is this. Unbleached flour is not treated with any chemicals at all. Granted, unbleached flour will spoil whatever you make it in a day or two, probably about a day sooner than the bleached flour. And the reason being is what they bleach the flour with, you would never want to drink or eat. To make that flour nice and pretty and white, this is not really white, it's kind of a off-white, like a cream color. They use benzoyl peroxide. That's stuff you put on cuts and things. And potassium bromate, or they use chlorine. I don't know anyone who can drink either of those 3 items and live to tell the tale. I mean, not in any great quantity anyway. Yeah, they put a teensy trace of it in like toothpaste and things, but you're just rinsing that out. You're not ingesting it. And I was curious, and was always using unbleached flour, but I didn't know exactly how it worked as far as when you cook with it. It speeds up the aging of the flour to improve qualities of the flour for baking. That's interesting to me. They don't tell you what qualities it's improving. They just say, it improves the quality for baking. Tastes the same either way. But I'm not going to put bleach in here. I'm not going to put benzoyl peroxide in there. I'm not drinking it, and I'm not going to put it in anything I eat. So that's the stuff that I don't want. And that's part of my healthy cooking kind of thing. Yes, I know it's a dessert. I know there's sugar in it. But hey, it's not all white sugar. Now, if you wanted to do this all brown sugar, the bananas you use, you don't want them to have that many freckles on just as they're just starting, because the brown sugar is sweeter. It's a lot sweeter, and it breaks down differently. So what you want to do is you're going to separate 3 eggs also. That's the other ingredient. Almost forgot those guys. You separate your 3 eggs. You put the yolks in one bowl, and you put the whites in another bowl. The whites are for the meringue, which is stiff beaten egg whites and cream of tartar and sugar. There's no sugar in there, is there? I think so. I have to think. Oh yeah, 1/4 cup. I'll have to measure that one out. I knew I had that measuring cup out here for a reason. Now my mixer it's a messy one because I use it a lot. I don't think to clean off the bottom. I apologize. But this one came with silicone beaters. There's the regular ones that you use for everything. Then there's the twirly ones for like making bread dough and stuff like that. But these are great because they clean up really well. You know, like the old metal ones will, like, everything sticks to it. And then, of course, that's okay when you have kids because they want to lick them. They say, give me the beater. It didn't work in my house where I was growing up because there was 5 of us. Only 2 beaters didn't work out so well. Mom would have had to have 3 mixers going at the same time so she could have one for herself. And that wasn't happening. She could have had us cook with her, but that didn't happen either. So silicone beaters on your mixer are wonderful. For those of us who hate the cleanup process, it makes it really simple. So as soon as you're done, running under the water comes right off. So you take your 3 egg yolks. And what you do with these guys is, before I tell you that, when you separate your eggs, the one thing that will ruin your meringue is if when you're separating the egg, but because we did it shell to shell, and you crack it, and you just do like this over a bowl, let the white fall in, and keep the yolk in the shell. If you get any teensy weensy bit of that yolk in the whites, you're not going to be able to make stiff beaten egg whites. The yolk messes it up. It doesn't let it froth the way it should. So if you aren't really good at doing this by hand with the eggshells, there's a little, I don't have one because I don't use them. I don't always do it by hand. There is a egg separator. It looks like a spoon, and it's got a little ring around it where when you crack the egg into it, the yolk fits right in that middle cup, and all the white goes right down the sides into the bowl for you. They're not real expensive. I think they probably even have them at the dollar stores. But use an egg separator. That's what they're called. And so you separate your eggs. Now I'm not going to do the whites because I want you to see the length of time that takes. I've got my egg yolks here. I've already lightly beat them. You lightly beat the yolks. And then you pour the 3 cups of milk into there. Now, milk is subjective also. A lot of people say the only milk you should use in banana pudding is whole milk. That's the old way of thinking. But if we're watching our healthy lifestyle now, we want to use about either 1 or 2%. 1%'s cutting it kind of like fat-free almost. So I do the 2%. I figured 2%'s not that big of a deal. So 3 cups of milk goes into the yolks. Like this. And I always put my dishes right in the sink afterwards. That way I don't forget to wash them. There's that one. And then you combine these two together, the yolks and the milk. Turn it down. This is why I wore an old shirt. You can tell I've been in the kitchen because I end up looking like the kitchen. And then we're going to pour this into the dry ingredients. Well, I do it the opposite. I don't want a bunch of bowls in front of me. So I just put the dry ingredients in with the eggs and the milk. And the dry ingredients in this case is going to be the flour, the sugar, and that's it. Because cream of tartar goes in with the whites. So the flour and the sugar. What you want to do is kind of like alternate them. That way it fully meshes together. So I put the 1/4 cup that goes with that, or the 1/2 cup that goes with that. Put that in there. That's the flour. That. And, well, I'm sorry, 4 tablespoons of flour. And the 1/2 cup sugar. Excuse me, 1 1/2 sugar. 1/4 cup, or 4 tablespoons of flour. In the sink. And this one's hard to get on the low speed. So. That's why the big deep bowl. My old mixer didn't do this mess. The low speed on it was like, it was easy to hit. This one not so much, but it's a great mixer anyway. I need a bowl like this deep to not get anything on me. Okay, and then we're gonna put some more of the sugar mixture. This is the brown sugar and the white sugar. I'm gonna put the whole thing in there, why not, right? And then see if it'll, I'm a little nervous. Oy vey. Look like I've been having mud pie fights. Only it's white mud. Okay. Now since this mixer is so powerful, that's why. Oh yeah. When we were kids, we didn't have these electric ones, and I actually am. I think I'm going to go to a Goodwill and look for the old time ones because they do the job really well, honestly. So if you have a mixer that's just out of control, whisk it. On my wrist. I didn't think about this thing being that powerful. Well, let me get a whisk. And someone else knows my wrist. I have a husband who loves to cook, and he moves my stuff. This isn't supposed to be in this drawer, it's supposed to be in that drawer over there. I still have these little lumps in here in the flour. Now, normally, if you want to do it the traditional way, you sift your flour. Yeah, I said sift. I don't know where my sifter is, but I have one. I mean, I would use it. I can't remember. I mean, I know it's under the sink somewhere. But yeah, you sift the flour for those lumps. Because sometimes the flour gets compacted, and those lumps just, it doesn't matter how much, it's still going to like stay there. So if you sift it, you can sift the lumps out and then remeasure it to make sure you get light, fluffy flour. And that's important. So there's that. Now, this mixture here is going to be put on the stove, and I put it on like medium high heat. You want to cook it on top of the stove. I put it on medium heat until it gets thick, like thick and smooth. So you're going to be kind of stirring it for a minute. I stir it intermittently just so I can keep talking to y'all and tell you some of this other stuff. So I'm going to put this in my pan, which is underneath here. And there it is. Now, I have no-stick pans, but I don't have a lot of no-stick utensils for them. I have those copper pans and I love them. They're great because they keep the heat consistent. So when I do this, because I know I'm most likely going to be whisking in it, I'll use this stainless steel. Stainless steel works. I kept, when we changed up our set of pots, I kept my favorites. I kept this big 5-quart stainless steel and the 1.5. 1.5 when I use it like for gravy and things like that, or small servings of mashed potatoes. So I'm going to pour this in this pan. Now, because I use brown sugar in it, sometimes it'll settle in the bottom. And then I'm going to show you something. Have you ever wondered when it's time to get a new spatula? I mean, if you have the rubber kind. You know what I mean? These guys. This kind. Well, when you see it doing that, see it bended on it, it's like, ooh. It's been in the heated stuff a little bit too many times. When it gets like that, get a new one. I just wanted to show you this one because I saw it and I go, I better use the other one. The reason being is, yeah, sometimes this is better at scooping out of the bowl for you, but you always want one it's a good firm one. I mean, that's basically brand new. Nice. It's a little, it's pliable, but it's still stiff. That's good. This goes in the sink. Now, I'm going to turn the burner on. Turn the light on over here. Put it on medium heat. And we're going to let it get hot first before we have to actually start whisking it around. Because as you whisk it around, it helps it to get thicker. Now, in the meantime, we're going to talk about the bananas. Now, the bananas, I don't think I'm going to need, oh, I do need you for that. Because I don't want any yolk touching those egg whites. I'm going to rinse these off. This is why the silicone bead bars are the best. Because it's going to come off of there. Because regular egg yolk will stick to the stainless steel ones that you normally get from way back when. This is the only probably modern thing that I use for my recipes. Still use the wooden spoon. And rinse that off. Get off of there. Like that. You also don't want any of the brown sugar granules getting into there, because you're going to put in it a 1/4 cup of regular sugar. Did I put my sugar away? I sure did. That's silly me. That I should have measured that out, huh? So much for planning. I did everything else okay. So these are going to go back in here. These are going to be for the egg whites. I'm going to grab that sugar real quick, measure out a 1/4 cup. Because after I do the banana thing, that's what we're going to do. So, now there is also a sugar that's not as white. but just as sweet, and I think it's actually a little sweeter. So you can kind of get away with minusing about a tablespoon of it. And it's turbinado sugar. All I know is I like it when I use it for something that's supposed to have a really nice sweet taste. But this, because the bananas have gotten so much sugar coming out of them naturally, I don't use it for this recipe anyway. So there's. Okay. Now you're probably wondering, why has she got her sugar in a Ziploc bag? Ants. Out in the country, yeah, you get ants, you get mice, and the one deterrent to ants is a Ziploc bag. For some crazy reason, they love sugar. They even like flour. Also keeps the meal bugs out of your flour. Probably, what the heck is a meal bug? You don't want them in your flour, trust me. You ever seen grub worms? It's kind of like their babies. Don't like it. Okay. The bananas, and I kept half of one not sliced, just to show you. If you like chunky banana pudding, go ahead and chunk them. Me, I like to have bananas through the whole thing, so I barely notice that pudding part's in there. I love my bananas, and bananas are high in potassium, as I was saying before, and good for you. You just have to eat them kind of in moderation, because you can overdo potassium. I don't have that problem, but some people can get sensitive to it. So when I slice my bananas for my banana pudding, they are literally about 1/8 of an inch thick. Nice and thin. And since it's 6 bananas, it's easier to divide it in thirds. This banana pudding has 3 layers. So you put your vanilla wafers in the bottom, put a layer of bananas, put some of the pudding mixture, another layer of the vanilla wafers, bananas, pudding, and until that box of cookies is gone, basically. It usually ends up being 3 layers. So after I've sliced my bananas, I kind of separate them in the bowl into 3 quadrants, so to speak. Now I've got to get back to the stove here, and I don't want to show you my backside, but I need to stir it, and there's something I need to stir in it. Since that is the pudding part, and this is my twist on it, I'm going to put in just 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. I could put a quarter, I could put a half, but I just want to, someone say, what's that taste? Cinnamon's pretty powerful, so you don't need a lot, especially for this. So just a little 1/8 teaspoon right here. And I'm going to put that in there. It's okay if it gets on the cutting board. I'm not using the cutting board anymore. Just go like that. That's going to go into the mixture of the milk and the sugar and brown sugar. Now the one thing you do not want to happen here, you do not want your milk to scald onto the pot. It's not doing anything just yet. It's still heating up. It hasn't gotten to temperature yet. Scalded milk will take on almost a burnt taste in a way. To some people it tastes burnt. And basically it's scalded. When you scald your hand, you burn your hand, right? So you don't want scalded milk in your banana pudding. You want it to be as fresh as you can stand it. So in that case, you just got to be careful with it. There is a recipe. I'm trying to think of it. I think it's I want to say it's my banana bread recipe. I'm not sure. But it's where you actually do scald the milk. And what that means is you get it to a temperature, and as you're stirring, when it starts to just lightly coat onto the side of the pan, and that's why you use stainless steel. Stainless steel is the only one that I know of where you can actually tell that it's getting ready to scald. You don't want it fully scalded because then it turns brown. It means it's burnt. So you don't want it burnt just before it gets burnt. Yeah, I know. So while that's doing its thing, and I'm going to look like a ping pong ball because we are doing this basically live in a way. And I like the lighting in here. I don't know what y'all think, but I think it's working out pretty well. I'm not a technical stagehand or anything. I mean, I have done photography, but when you get out of that business for a while, kind of have to have a reminder. So now you can use a square pan if you want deeper pudding. I'm using a rectangular one because I like the smaller portion for it. And wow, look at that. Now technically, this it should be put in a bowl, but I'm debating. If my bowl is available, it's not see-through. What do you think? Should I do the round one? Because I gotta make 2 batches today anyway. Yeah, let me get the round one. Okay, come here, souffle. This way it'll be nice and deep. It's a souffle dish. It's a nice big one. It's the 3-quart, I think it's 3-quart souffle. So this is gonna have, you want to lay them flat on the bottom. I gotta check the stove again. You should see me making my great-grandmother's cookies. I was down in my basement, and I knew the timer was going to go off soon. And if you leave them in too long, you totally mess them up. Man, I ran up those stairs, and that's as fast as I ever moved. 63-year-old bad hip, bad knees, who cares? I got to get my great-grandmother's cookies out of the oven. I was not ruining those things. She would have my head, even though she's not here. She's watching me, I know. All our loved ones that have gone beyond are still watching us. Okay. Now they started at this point. I can feel it getting thick. So we want to, once you get thick and pretty, as we say, we don't say pretty, we say pretty. So you know the consistency of pudding, right? The consistency of pudding is kind of like Jell-O, only milky. So that's what we're trying to attempt to get here. Now once this is at that consistency, it has to be pulled off the heat so it stops cooking, especially in stainless steel. Stainless steel will, not like copper, but it will retain the heat for quite a few minutes. And that way, at least you can prep the other things. Now, while this is doing this, I'm going to turn it down just a little bit because I do not want to burn this milk. And get the egg white started. Come here, you. You need a recipe. There you go. All right, egg whites. This is the fun part for the meringue. Stiff peaked egg whites. And we need a 1/4 cup. Where's that 1/4 cup? Where is it? I just had it, did I not? I thought I had measured it out. Okay, I've lost it. I do not know what I did with the 1/4 cup sugar. Interesting. I did pour it. I don't see the cup, do you? I don't see it. I don't know what I did. Maybe I put it in there. Well, that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. Honestly, if I put it in the wrong place. Because, no, I did not do it in there. The way I can tell is where is the cup. I've lost the 1/4 cup of sugar. Don't you love it when people mess up on camera? Oh well, anyway, I need a 1/4 cup for these. And I'm going to pour that. It's not much. There we go. And this guy. Yep. This doesn't splash as much as the milk mixture. Neglect the milk mixture. And it is just done. Now that wasn't too bad. Now I'm going to show you. You can see when I pulled off the heat, it's still kind of bubbly. It's got, you know, like a pudding consistency. Now when it gets baked, it's going to finish that process. So we're going to take this off. It's going to stay hot. We're not to worry. Okay. I took it off the heat and turned the burner off. I put it back on the burner only because for this. Normally you wouldn't do it. This would already be in, you know, stiff peaks. So we're going to You're going to beat this until it's almost stiff, then slowly, gradually add the sugar and the cream of tartar to it, and then a teaspoon of vanilla. Watery frothy, and when you add the sugar, you're doing it 1 tablespoon at a time until it's dissolved. Now the cream of tartar you can put in first, and then the sugar 1 tablespoon at a time. So let's open this little guy up, and the cream of tartar amount is 1/8 of a teaspoon. There's that 1/8 again. How about that? What it does is it makes them glossy, kind of, and helps them stay poofy. That's what the cream of tartar does. Okay, just like, come on. So it's that's a quarter. I'm gonna need half of that. Not too much, because then you start tasting it. That is half. Okay, and then here's the tablespoon. I'll put that right in the sugar. Use that. It's noisy, but it's fun. Now, right now, it's kind of silky looking. No stiff peaks yet. I don't know, about halfway there. What's happening is the motion of the beaters is putting air between the cells of the egg white, the sugar, the cream of tartar, and once so much air is there, it just sticks to the air and gets stiff. Oh, one more thing. If you tilt the bowl, because it's thick, it's not going to splash out. As you beat, because it's deeper, it will actually be easier to make it stiff beaten. So don't worry that I'm not pouring it out. I'm just making it easier to make it stiff beaten. Okay, I'm going to test it, see if they're stiff. Now, stiff beaten egg whites is when you take your beaters and you lift them up, and a little point of the meringue comes up. If it stays with a little like curly Q-tail, then it's done. It's ready to be spread on top of whatever you need to use it for. This, unfortunately, is just not there. It's still kind of runny. So we have a little bit more to go. More noise. I think I found it. I'm going to do about 15 seconds more. It looks like it's just about there. And then we can start layering our banana pudding in the dish. Perfect. Now, hopefully you can see this. When you take your batter, your beaters, to these meringue butter. Okay, I'm gonna come up close. Okay, there is the meringue. I'm gonna just touch it, pull it up, and then you see a little curly Q top that comes there? It actually makes a little mountain with like a Elvis curl. I don't know what else to call it. I'm just gonna Elvis curl. So, now, it's really nice if you have a clear glass dish for presentation purposes for your banana pudding. I don't have one yet. Christmas. Yes, Christmas. Okay, so there's my meringue. Excuse me. And so what I need to do is stir in a teaspoon of vanilla into this, and the and a teaspoon of vanilla into the pudding part. So, natural vanilla. I don't use anything but 100% vanilla. Most of your vanillas have alcohol in them, some level of an alcohol content. Pure vanilla extract is the only thing I use. Again, naturalist, kind of, and it tastes so much better. It's just like when you grow your own tomatoes. They have flavor. The ones in the grocery store, they don't taste like anything. They're imposters, tomato imposters. That's what I call them. You bite one, it's like, I guess it's supposed to taste like a tomato. It doesn't. So I'm going to whip this one more time with the vanilla in it. It's not going to hurt the peaks. It's actually going to help them a little bit. There is a you want to make sure that you get it back to the froth stage. The reason why vanilla is so expensive is, have you ever seen a vanilla bean? Just think about it. A vanilla bean makes vanilla extract. And those beans, it takes a lot of them to make one little 2-ounce bottle of it. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot of vanilla beans to make that little bit. And that's why it's so expensive. And if you think vanilla extracts, all natural ones, are all created equal, they're not. Because there are vanilla beans, different types of vanilla beans. And my favorite, and I haven't bought any because it is expensive, but maybe I'll get some Christmas money and I can buy some. It is Madagascar vanilla, natural vanilla. Oh my gosh. I know, start. I forgot to hit the button to preheat. The oven is preheated to 325 degrees for this. The meringue's going to sit to the side there while we layer our banana pudding. Now, the tricky part on this is the ridges on this dish are on the outside, and sometimes you'll find them where they'll have them on the inside. And what looks really nice is and actually tastes really well, is when you have the vanilla wafers along the sides as well as the bottom. So what I've done is I put them in the bottom, okay? I'm gonna fix them. And just a single layer across the bottom, filling in, you know, all the little holes there. And then you do a layer of the bananas. 1/3 is what I'm gonna do. They say, well, actually I'm gonna do it my way. The recipe says, you know, 1/3, 1/3. I'm going to just kind of evenly layer them out until you can't see any cookies. Then that's when I'm going to scoop, and if I'll show my spoon there, scoop the pudding on top of the bananas. And this is why I make my bananas so thinly sliced, because I want to make sure that I have bananas through the whole thing, not just in spots. I mean, you get banana pudding in the store, and I get disappointed because I'm like, I'll take a bite and like, all I got was pudding, I didn't get any bananas. It's so disheartening for someone who loves homemade banana pudding. So, actually I'm going to do this because it's like, I'm going to pour this just like this. Now that little bit of cinnamon gives it a whole different flavor. Some people like it, some people don't. I like it. And this is really banana-y. Oops, I forgot the cookies. That's okay. You don't have to do them in order. You have to do cookies, bananas, bananas. You can do bananas, cookies if you want. But for the bottom, you definitely want to do the cookies on the bottom. I don't know why that is. That's just how we do. So I got these cookies here. And this is when I can actually shove them down the sides. After you've done that first 2 layers with the pudding and the bananas, you can stick them in there around the edge that helps you use up the box of cookies. Is when you can put them around the edge. So that's why banana pudding is so popular. It's a cakey thing. You know, the cookies become like the cake part. Because the cookies are going to get softened up just enough that when you bite into that banana pudding, it's like you're eating banana cake with pudding in it. At least that's how I describe it. I haven't found anybody, at least in the Georgia areas, I don't like banana pudding. Every single restaurant I've ever been to, they've got, it seems like everybody has a recipe on their menu for banana pudding. So I'm going to cover up the, actually I think this works out better, covering up the bananas with the cookies. And then I'm going to put pudding on that. And then more bananas. There's another good bit in there still. This is going to be a scant 3-layer because I put too much in the bottom. And that happens, but it doesn't ruin it because you're going to put meringue on top. The meringue on top is what makes it pretty awesome. It's been a long time since I made this. I think the last time I made it was when my kids were little, and they're in their 30s. Excuse me. A little drier. There's that. And this is going to be the last layer. So I'm going to just kind of spoon this out a little bit. I probably shouldn't have poured that first one because it made me have to stretch it. That's okay. It's okay. Now, sometimes instead of cinnamon, I'll put a little bit of nutmeg in there. Kind of like that. But I like to tweak recipes. You know, I see how other people make them and I go, well, I think it would be good with this. I am my own guinea pig. Yep. And I have an uncle who has stayed the same size for years. And I don't know how he does it, honestly. I really don't. But he doesn't gain any weight. And he told me, he said what his secret was. He said, you know how when you go to a restaurant, they don't serve you your dessert until at the end, last? I said, yeah. He said, I eat my dessert first. I said, what? He's like, think about it. When you go have a big meal, at the end of your meal, you're stuffed. So you don't want to be rude and not order dessert, but it doesn't taste the same as if you had eaten it first. I said, okay, there's got to be another reason. Uncle Tony. I was like, why would you eat, oven ready, why would you eat your dessert first? He said, well, I looked up some information about that. He said, and according to some medical report, that when you eat something sweet, typically your desserts are sweet, right? It activates certain enzymes in your stomach acid to digest your food better. I said, really? Are you kidding me? He's like, no. He said, I read it. So I looked into it. He wasn't kidding. Who knew? And so it's okay to eat your dessert first. But if you go in a restaurant and you tell them, I want my dessert first, don't let them talk you out of it. Tell them you're on this special diet and the doctor said you have to eat your dessert first. Yeah, you can do that little fib. It works. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. This one's really going to be cakey, which is all right. Now this meringue, that we make for banana pudding is the exact same meringue for a lemon meringue pie. Isn't that wonderful? I love it. So I did cookies, and the top layer is going to be these bananas on top. I'm going to pour the rest of that pudding mixture in on top of this. And then this goes in the little oven here for 25 minutes. 25 minutes is not a long time. I don't know if y'all are going to wait 25 minutes. I'll tell you what. We'll do this. We're going to pop it in the oven. And then I'm going to do the follow-up video on the Southern style, my country style banana pudding. Southern. And then you'll be able to see how it turned out. Kind of like I did with the cranberry sauce, I think is what I made. Something like that. Well, there was cranberry sauce I made and some other thing. Well, I did one of the deviled eggs, but I don't remember what happened to that video. It should be still hanging out there somewhere. I've had some technical difficulties in the upload department and ironing those out. That's all part of the process. Doing your own videos like that. Oh, this is wonderful. This smells great. Oh my gosh. I wish we could smell of it. Well, sometimes yes, sometimes no. But, so I'm scooping this mostly out with a plastic spoon. Normally I use the wooden one, but for this, because I don't want to splash it on the floor or anything like that. I have a tendency to splash things on myself, as you saw. So that's it. And I can show you just a little bit of what scalding looks like, because it had just started on here. Don't be too concerned about, you know, where the pudding lands, or if it's totally covered or not totally covered, because this is going to get covered up with meringue real quick. Okay. Ooh. Mmm. Ooh, yum. I like that 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon in there. Always did. That makes it so awesome. And here I am eating in front of you all. Sorry, can't help it. You gotta test what you're cooking. Okay, I'm gonna come so you can see what scalding of milk looks like. Now, it was just one little tiny spot. Can you see right in here? Right? Maybe you can't see. But right there, there's a little brown spot. I was trying to see if I can get the lights in there. But there you might be able to see it. If you see that, the first sign of it, take it off the heat right away. I mean, you want it to be thick, but you don't want it burnt. And now the spatula is great because I don't like to waste any of the good stuff, and that would be the pudding filling. Yeah, scoop that all out and make it almost like you licked it clean. Now Luna, this furry face that popped in here, oh yeah, she likes cleaning plates. So if I thought she would lick this, I'd probably let her have it. And she might not, because cats aren't supposed to have sugar. But she's weird. She likes food that cats shouldn't like. Like spicy chicken sandwiches from a fast food restaurant. I thought, she likes chicken. So I thought, I'll bet she won't eat this. I was wrong. Alright, that goes in the sink. Because heaven knows I've got lots to clean up in here. Alright, our meringue with our stiff peaks. Come here you go. That button's one I meant to push. Now you can try to get as much of the meringue off as possible. Ta-da. And that goes in the sink. Usually what I'll do with these is I'll put water in there, let it soak for a little bit. Yeah, just double checking. And you're going to put all this meringue right on top. Now this might look like it's too much because it's going to be really hot, but it's not. For the mere fact is the bananas are going to get soft and the cookies are going to get soft, and it's going to mush and it's going to fall down a little bit. So we have our oven at 325. We have stiff beaten egg white meringue. And if you remember this recipe for the meringue, write it down in your little recipe cards or your recipe cookbook, you know, or notebook or whatever. And the next time you make lemon meringue pie, you'll already have the recipe. And for you people who are worried about pie being fattening, I did some research. The least amount of calories in a pie that you can eat is lemon meringue. Who knew? I didn't until I looked into it, because I think my husband and I were out somewhere eating, and that's when I started, you know, watching what I'm eating and this and that, and trying to be a good girl and stay away from all that sugary stuff. This isn't really for me. I'll have one little bowl, but it's going to be for him and our house guest. And I'm going to take some to my mother-in-law. She just got out of the hospital. She fell, broke her leg, well, her femur, and also broke her wrist. And she's had a devil of a time. So I've been taking her little treats now and then. Okay. When you put your meringue on your banana pudding, just like with, did I say lemon meringue? I meant to say meringue. on your banana pudding. And the same thing with your lemon meringue pie too. You smooth it out over the whole top, and you have to seal it. Seal it means all the way to the edge of the bowl to where it looks like you're coming over the edge. Now the reason why I love stiff beaten egg whites is the crafty part, the little peaks. So when this cooks, you'll see the little tips of the peaks will be golden, just a little golden. So you're gonna go like that. You kind of smack it, so you see those little peaks come up, and they fall over. And it's just a decorative thing. I don't know if you noticed in the ones you buy in the store. Ooh, there it goes again. Told you I was gonna get myself dirty. They have those little peaks on the pies. Those frozen pies, they all have those little peaks. All those lemon meringue pies. This is so pretty, isn't it? Look at this. It's like arts and crafts on a pie, but it's banana pudding instead. Right like that. Now that is going to be literally a work of art when it's done. Do I dare? Oh yeah. You know what else is not fattening? Marshmallows. I wouldn't lie. They're mostly air and sugar. What's meringue? Air and sugar. And you don't eat a lot of it. That means the sugar is dispersed, so you're just getting a little bit of sugar. Yeah, I know it's in the pudding part, but the meringue part, just eat the meringue if you want. Not me, I'm eating the whole thing. Now this, I get to show you. Now that, isn't that beautiful? Look at those little peaks. They're gonna be gorgeous when they're tinted a little tan color. I'm gonna put this in the oven. Like I said, it's for 25 minutes. Set my timer. Back it up one. Okay. 25 minutes. And there's going to be a beautiful dish of perfect southern banana pudding, my country style. Hey, I enjoy cooking for everybody. If there's I need to make more like main meal stuff. I did one last night. I need to do it again. It turned out, it was just something in my head, and I tried it, and my husband goes, oh, these are wonderful. I said, really? He said, yeah. How'd you make those? It was stuffed mushroom cap, Bella mushrooms. And I put some stuff in there that I had, and they're gluten-free, by the way. That's how I was able to get to where I am right now and not be the other lady that was walking around here about 8 months ago. I cut out gluten. I pretty much cut out sugar to a certain extent, except occasionally natural sugar. But, okay, now I feel silly. Remember that quarter cup of sugar I couldn't find? The bowl was hiding it. I'm human. And plus I'm an old lady, okay? Goodness gracious. I am doing a monthly quiz contest kind of thing. If you watch my So What Seamstress channel, it's on there as well. So I'm putting it on all my 3 channels that I have. I do have a channel for my furry friends there. And it's Crazy Kitty, Luna, and Data. And Luna's the crazy one. She thinks the Christmas tree is home plate. So she runs, and I haven't got it on video yet, but I'm going to get her doing it. She runs and hits the tree skirt and slides right into it. Like she's sliding into home base. And I'll hear the slide and thump, and I'll go, Luna! Leave that tree alone! She hasn't tried to climb it. Thank goodness. This is basically her first Christmas. Last year we didn't. There were things going on. I just didn't have the mentality or the energy to decorate, so we didn't do it. But, you know, it was about, we just spent time together. And that's what the holiday should be, spending time with family. And being thankful for the blessings you're given. I'm being blessed with being able to share with you. And I hope that I'm sharing something with you that does give you some joy or whatever. And don't be afraid to tweak, I call it, a recipe. If there's a certain flavor that you know when you eat it, you think it's missing, add it to it. Don't tell anybody. Let them eat it and let them say, what should you do different to this? That's what I did with this banana pudding. Nobody knows I put a teeny bit of cinnamon in it. But they go, man, this is good. This is like any other banana pudding I ever had. So try it. It's an easy recipe. It's fun. And 25 minutes in the oven. And then follow-up video is going to show you what that beautiful dish looks like. My monthly contest for December. We just finished the blessings contest where you were supposed to have seen my So What Seamstress page. And I think I put a notice on here, maybe not. Granted, it was kind of late in the month when it got started. It was like right at Thanksgiving, where I asked individuals to share a story about how they blessed a total stranger and didn't expect anything in return, or where a stranger did that for them. And I got some wonderful stories to share. And one I'm going to try to see if she'll let me share it with having her be anonymous, because it's wonderful. Very, very uplifting. And that's what blessings do. They lift people up, right? So this one's a little bit different. This is more like a fun thing, a monthly quiz. And yes, there are prizes involved, and they're free too. I just like giving people free things, I think. Yeah, that's it. If you know, and this is where you have to comment. Don't try to you got to put a comment on my channel. Which hand do I write with? That's the question. If you've watched me, you know who I am, you know what I'm doing, and you like what you see, or even if you don't like what you see, but if you want to win something free, I want in the comments which hand I write with. I'm not going to repeat it. I've said it multiple times in conversation on here and on my other two channels. Well, not the cat one, but on the sewing one. So submit your comment, share my channel information, subscribe. More fun stuff is here to come, because I'm a little crazy old lady. At least that's what my kids say. And eat healthy, okay? A little bit of exercise. That can be just up and down the steps a couple times, or just a walk. A walk is the best exercise you can get. And I like riding a bicycle. I have to be careful now that I'm older, but eat smart. It'll keep you healthy, and you'll live a long, long life. God bless y'all. Come back and see me, hopefully not cooking a dessert. I'm going to try to do a main dish next time. Maybe an hors d'oeuvre, maybe an appetizer. Give me ideas. Let me know what you want to see. I know that not too many people like liver, but there is one about liver. Well, it's chicken livers, but check it out. I'll put it on a playlist for you, okay? Everybody, you have a wonderful week, and stay healthy, and stay safe.